video. Okay. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, especially our district trio, starting from Madam District Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Venus, Madam PQD, Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Nuch, and Madam Club Growth Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Erlinda. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Masterclass number 2. And today is going to be about club mentors. Now, club mentors and individual mentors are not the same. And later on, you are going to know what is the difference between these two terms, what are the roles and responsibilities of a club mentor, and how to be a successful club mentor for the new clubs in the future. Now, this training is not going to be conducted by me, but today we have one very special person who is going to conduct the training for you. This person is currently our club quality chair of District 97P, and he is here with us. So please give a big round of applause to our club quality chair, Toastmaster Rob.
Hello, everybody. So good to be here, and good to see some people who were here last week, and looking forward to getting into this, and also some new people as well. So let's start by I'm going to share my screen and bring up a presentation. Okay, so I'll start with the good news. The good news is it's not a hugely long presentation, so we're not going to take up a whole 2 hours doing this. So unless we get a whole load of questions, we can probably finish a bit early and we can all go down the pub. But we do have some good information for you. So what we're talking about tonight is club mentoring. So for those of you who weren't here last week, I'll briefly go over a quick explanation that we have club sponsors and we have club mentors, and club mentors are different to mentors in a regular club, so it can be a little bit confusing. So we're trying to clarify that as we go. But essentially what the club sponsor does is get a club off the ground from not existing to becoming a actual Toastmasters club. But unfortunately not all clubs who make it as that far then succeed to become a successful long-term established club. So the job of the club mentor is to help these new clubs learn how to be a Toastmasters club, how to run meetings properly, how to attract members, and help them become successful and a part of our community here in District 97. And that's a little bit different to an ordinary mentor in a club who works with an individual member and mentors them. But we'll probably come back to that a little bit later. So new club mentoring does matter, and it also helps you as an individual, really helps you on your Toastmaster journey, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later as well. So yeah, in fact, we can talk about it now. So why should you care? You should care because becoming a club mentor is actually a very useful step if you want to become a distinguished Toastmaster, which I'm sure you know is the kind of ultimate goal in Toastmasters. That's a status we all like to achieve, and you need to accomplish a number of things in order to achieve that status. And one thing you can do is become a club mentor, and that gives you credit towards your Distinguished Toastmaster, your DTM. So it really does help you. It certainly helps the community and it helps the clubs, but there are also very direct personal benefits for you if you take on the club mentor role. So I definitely recommend that you take a look at it and see if it's for you. So very quickly talk about me. So I've been a Toastmaster for about 8 years. I started in Australia. I did it in UK for a little while, and here in Thailand, first in Chiang Mai, and for the last few years in Thailand. So last year I was the Vice President of Education at Bangkok Advanced. And this year I have a new role as the club coach for Fun for Friday. And now I'm also the club quality chair, which means I'm helping to organize this mentoring committee, which we're going to talk about. So as Club Quality Chair, I'm part of the district marketing team. The official role is to focus on establishing a club mentor committee to provide a valuable service through the club mentor program. So all that really means is organizing, helping mentors bring them on board, assign them to clubs, and make sure everything runs smoothly. So that's going to be my job for next 9 months or so. And the club mentor committee, that has the job of recruiting, training, and tracking mentors for all clubs that charter or are in the midst of the chartering process. So let's talk about what a mentor is. So in general, a regular mentor, if you like, is someone who shares his or her expertise and knowledge with one or more people who have less experience. So it's very common outside of Toastmasters, we have mentoring in all kinds of industries. And also inside Toastmasters, you may have mentors in your club who mentor individuals. So it'd be a more experienced Toastmaster assisting a newer Toastmaster and helping them along their path in Toastmasters. But a club mentor is a different role. So the club mentor is someone who advises the whole club. And as I said, we're talking about clubs which are newly established and really haven't found their feet yet. And the club mentors are the advisors and tutors for new clubs, and they have a great effect on the degree to which a new club succeeds. In addition to providing mentors to the club, the committee arranges club mentor credit opportunities for members who seek it. So in other words, this is an important role because clubs can fail if they don't get the right support. And of course, we want our clubs to succeed. We want to reach our Vision 60 goal of having 60 clubs doing well, and club mentors play a really important role in making that happen. And in terms of the credit, it certainly helps you get your Distinguished Toastmaster. So there are reasons for it, helps everybody, and definitely a good thing to be involved with. So if you take on the role of mentor, first of all, you get the opportunity to share your expertise. So if you've been in Toastmasters for a little while, you probably have a lot more skills and knowledge than you may realize. You may think that you're relatively new and don't have that much to pass on, but compared to someone or people who have just formed a new club and they're all new to the whole experience, you actually have a wealth of knowledge that you can share. And that's something really useful and really valuable. So you can translate the values and strategy into productive actions. So new clubs, everything's new. They don't really know how to do things, and they need the mentor support to help them turn their ideas into action and get the club moving. And it's also a valuable leader role. So Toastmasters is not just about public speaking, it's all about communications and leadership. And this is a great chance to be a leader in a kind of new environment where everybody's needs a leader to guide them and show them what to do. And this is your chance to build your own leadership skills, which you can use in your career and other parts of your life. So it has real value for you. And it's an investment in the future of Toastmasters. We're all part of this fantastic community. And if you take on this role, then you're helping District 97 to become more successful, hopefully help us grow into becoming a full district, and that has real benefits for all of us. So it's worth your while in terms of investment in the whole Toastmasters community. And certainly it gives you fresh perspectives. If you've been in the same club all your time in Toastmasters, it'd be very interesting to get involved with the new club and people who are coming into this completely fresh, and you have a chance to hear their perspectives and get a different idea of how to run a club, and can be a very interesting experience. And certainly a chance to build your teamwork skills. You'll be working with a team who's needs to learn, and you need to get all the officers working together and getting things done and helping the club grow and succeed and become established. And yeah, it's a whole new opportunity to apply your leadership skills in brand new situations. You'll come across things that you've never come across before. Every club is different, so you never quite know what those challenges are going to be, but there'll be something interesting to deal with, and it's all a learning opportunity. And as you said, perhaps the most practical, concrete benefit is you get, if you're successful in the role, then you'll get a credit towards your Distinguished Toastmaster status. So there's a real solid reason for getting involved and doing this. So what are we going to talk about? So over the next maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, we're going to talk about the resources available to help you and the kind of official duties that you're expected to take on as a club mentor, what you need to do to help clubs ensure that their meetings run to the right quality standards, and how they can build and maintain membership. We spend a bit of time on that because it's very important. And we're going to talk about the education program and how you can support them in that, and also the Distinguished Club program. So there's quite a lot of things to cover, but they're all interesting and rewarding and good to be involved with. So there are official resources to help you. If you look at the Toastmasters.org website, there are all kinds of useful documents. So you can check out the Distinguished Club program progress documents. There are forms and documents you can download, and they'll all help you get started and understand what you need to do. And there are always some tasks which need to be done, and you can get some support with that. On the website, you can also find current and back issues of leader letter, which new members of the new club officers may find useful as well. So what are the official duties? So as a club mentor, your overall aim is to ensure that the club is a strong one and fully functional. And bearing in mind, it's starting from zero, and the members know very little. Some of them have little idea what Toastmasters is all about. Most of them will never have been to a Toastmasters meeting before. So there's they have a lot to learn, and it's your job to help them and guide them on that journey. So of course you'll be working with the officer in the club, and each officer needs to understand what their specific role is and the duties they have to undertake and the tools available to them to perform those duties. So you can help them by explaining that and ensuring that they take on the role and get things done. So another important part of being a club mentor is working with them to create quality club meetings. And again, because a lot of these people are new, you need to explain to them what the Toastmasters experience is, how meetings run, and what everybody does, what the different roles are, and what they need to do to make a meeting successful. So of course that all starts with preparation and getting things ready in advance. So you need to help them planning their club meetings, organize what they're going to do. You need to create programs and ideas and tools, show them what's available, the different things they may use to organize and their meeting program and individual meetings. So your job is to help the officers provide a service for the members. So you're really supporting them in that role and ensuring that each of them takes on their duties and get things done as they should do. So perhaps the biggest challenge as a club mentor is you need to help this new club become established, and to become a serious club they need to have, a distinguished club they need to have at least 20 members. So that can be difficult, and you need to be working with officers like the VP of Public Relations and of membership to bring people into the club and to ensure that they stay as members. And to do that, the club really needs to have a membership building culture. If the club's not always attracting new people, it's going to kind of wither and die, because people will always going to leave clubs. You may have great members who move away, or they're unable to come to Toastmasters because of work commitments or other things going on in their life. So you're always going to be losing members. So it's really important to have a plan to replace those and keep new people coming into the club. So as a club mentor, it's really important that you help them to foster this membership building culture and always be looking to attract new members, attract new guests into the club, and then turn those guests into members, and then ensure that they stay and renew year after year. So it's quite a challenge, but a very interesting one too. So yeah, new members is the biggest challenge, and you need to work with the officers and work out what strategies you're going to use to attract new members into the club through public relations and other activities, other kind of events you might want to do, different programs you can run which bring people into the club. And if you have those new members coming all the time, then you're halfway to success. So if you're building a strong membership, then that also gives you a strong leadership base as well. And every club is only as strong as its leadership. So you need some good people in to come into the club that can be recruited to be part of the officer team and can take on other roles in the club and help the club to grow. So this is really important and something we need to work on. And everybody's different. We all have our own personalities and ideas, and sometimes there's a clash of ideas, but it's also quite healthy to have fresh perspectives and visual thinking coming into a club. So as mentor, it's your job to help them navigate those kind of issues and resolve any personality clashes, and to make everything positive, ensure that they have a positive environment where people are encouraged to put forward ideas, and the good ideas are acted on to make the club stronger and better for everyone. And it's also really important that meetings should be fun. I mean, yes, it's true that the main purpose of Toastmasters is to be educational, and we're all here to become better public speakers, to become better communicators and better leaders. But it's much easier to attract people to meetings if the meetings are interesting and fun to be a part of. People will see it as part of their social life, and it'd be like a social event, but they have the benefit of learning and improving as well. So that if you can get that right, that really is an unbeatable combination. So definitely help the officers find ways to ensure that the boring bits are left out and the interesting and fun parts are left in, and then you're well on your way to having a successful club. So there are all kinds of things you can do to maintain your membership. And again, if you look online, there are all kinds of resources to help you. And so it's your job to discuss with the officers what things you could do to bring people into the club. And again, there's programs like Success 101. These you can find information about all of these programs on toastmasters.org, and you may find those useful. So yeah, and these are all other things you can do. There's the annual individual member sponsors, there's Smedley Award, there's a Talk Up Toastmasters program, a whole bunch of different opportunities to find new ways to promote the club and bring people in. Also, Beat the Clock is another one. So a bit too complicated to go into those, but they are available if you can use them. And if you can do all this, then yeah, you bring your people into the club, and as we discussed, that's really, really important for every club. The club needs to operate efficiently, so you need to maintain that strong membership base, and the mentor's job is to ensure that all this is done correctly. And members do need to be informed. That can be a problem, that members don't always know what's going on. Maybe the officers know exactly what's happening, what's coming up, but the individual members do not. So that kind of communication is important, and a club mentor will help to ensure that it happens and that people stay interested in what's going on. So bringing new people into the club, that's super important, but retention is key as well. So we don't want too many members joining and then leaving. We want people to stay as long as possible, because when you have people who stay for a number of years and become established as kind of pillars of the club, that's when you have a good base of members that you can draw officers from, and it helps to build the club for the long term. So it gives you continuity. So you don't want a constant churn of member. You do want to have this established base so that you have some people who are really familiar with how the club works and can help new people as they come in. And again, that's great for bringing leaders into the club. You can always need to find officers every year. And if you have this strong base of members who have been in the club for a long time, then you can have a pool of really good possible leaders to draw on. So, but everyone is responsible. So as club mentor, you help to ensure that everyone's working together. It can happen in some clubs that you end up with maybe 2 or 3 people are taking on all the work. Maybe they're taking on 2 or even 3 official roles and doing a whole bunch of other things as well. You don't really want that. You want to ensure that everyone's involved and takes responsibility for ensuring the club is successful. So again, as a club mentor, you can help ensure that the load is shared evenly and everyone has a chance to get involved. So another part of the role is to help the Vice President of Education, which is a challenging role. I know myself, having done it last year, there's a lot to learn. So for someone new to Toastmasters, it can be a lot to take in, especially now as we're still in the kind of handover from the old education system to new pathways. There's a bit of confusion there as to who's in which and how it works. So you need to work with the Vice President of Education and help them understand how the whole pathway systems work, how they deal with any people who are still on the old program, and all the things they need to know to run the education program effectively. And finally, there's the Distinguished Club Program, and that's really useful for you as a mentor because it provides kind of standards the club needs to meet to be part of the Distinguished Club Program. So you have very specific objectives to help them achieve, and you have documents to support you. You can create a club success plan, and then everybody knows exactly what they have to do to achieve those objectives. And that's a really great way to ensure the club keeps moving forward and hopefully becomes not just a distinguished club, but a president's distinguished club and becomes very successful. So yeah, certainly use all the documents and all the facilities that Toastmasters provide. The club success plan is a really good way to go. It's a great document. And if you base the future on that success plan, then you really can't go wrong. So that's pretty much all we've got in terms of an official presentation. So if that sounds interesting and you're looking to help a club and to get involved with a fresh challenge and something new and interesting, then you can take the next step and you're moving forward to getting your Distinguished Toastmaster status. So definitely consider becoming a club mentor. It's something that can help the community, but also helps you as an individual. It helps you become a better leader, a better communicator, and it gives you a chance to become a Distinguished Toastmaster too. So if you're interested, then all you need to do is get in touch. The easiest way to do that is just to get in touch with me. You can email me at rob@robpalmer.com, and we can get the ball rolling and start an application to organize and take things forward from there. And I think that is pretty much it for me. So I'll stop sharing my screen. Okay. And that's all the kind of official presentation, but if you have any questions, we'd be happy to deal with those.
Right, thank you very much, Rob. So now we are open the floor to everyone for the Q&A session. After that, we are going to have maybe a panel discussion. Like we can ask the questions to, since we have the trio here, I am here as well, and Rob is here as well, so we can answer all your questions. So now we just open the floor to those of you who might have some questions. Right, if you have any questions, please feel free to type the question in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask your questions.
I have a question.
Hi, yes, Toastmaster Vuni. Sorry, yeah, Vuni, correct.
Yes. Can I invite Rob to share his success story on how to foster membership building culture? Because I think that's
on how to. Yeah, so I can repeat that.
Any success story or successful experience on building a membership to build a membership building culture?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So I can really only give you my experience in Bangkok Advanced, where I was vice president last year. And as it, when we took over just over a year ago, we had just about 22 members, and 6-7 months later, just before the whole COVID-19 changed everything, we were up to 36 members, and we were about to hit 40 members. So we pretty much were on track to double the membership within a year. But then, unfortunately, everything came to a grinding halt and changed everything. But what we did find is that we tried to have a culture where we had a high standard for education, plus a high standard for the fun side. So we try to make meetings fun and motivational and inspirational, and we found that really worked. And we found some of the things that worked well were having a really strong theme for a meeting and publicizing that as widely as we could. So we used Meetup, for example, to publish our events, as well as Facebook and other things. And we found that that's the right theme can make a huge difference to the number of guests that we could have. If we had a kind of so-so theme, we might get 3 or 4 guests. If we had a theme that sounded really interesting, we might get 20 guests. So it made a massive difference. And obviously many of those guests came on to become members. So it does make your approach to how you do the whole publicity is really important. And also, once you get those guests coming into the club, the kind of onboarding of guests, converting guests into members is really important as well. So we had a system where the VP of membership would follow up with guests, and then those who were interested, that we'd bring them on board. And once they became officially members, we had like a handover system to me as vice president of education. And then I would do a meeting with a new member, either face-to-face or over Zoom, whatever suited them best, or just a phone call if they preferred that. And I talked them through what they needed to do and get them started, explain pathways and get them started doing their icebreaker, book them in. It's also really important that you get new members booked in to do their icebreaker as soon as possible, because as soon as they've done that first speech, then they're a Toastmaster and they're on their way. Whereas it's very easy to let that drift. And after like 3 months, they haven't done it, and then they're probably going to fade away and you lose them. So it's really important that the whole system, it's like a sales pipeline. You have to have a system to attract guests into the club, and then you have to work on converting those guests into members, and then you have to work on getting those members active in the club, and then you have to ensure that they're happy and renew the membership. And also the whole renewals process, really important as well. A lot of people just don't get around to organizing the money and renewing, and the membership lapses by default because no one's really supported them through their process. So again, we had a process where the VP of membership was really active in talking to each member when memberships were coming due, and helping them ensure that the money was paid, show them exactly what they needed to do to pay the dues. And we had some members who were kind of struggling financially, and we kind of worked with them as best as we could to help them get across that line and renew the membership. So it's really, you need to have an end-to-end system. You can't just hope that people will turn up and become members and stay. That doesn't work. I think, so as a club mentor, I would say the role is to really help people establish that, the new club, establish that system and work through it all the way.
All right, thank you, Rob. We have 2 more questions in the chat box. Let me ask the first one first. We have the first question from Hugh, Hanoi speaker Toastmasters. If we mentor a new club with at least 6 to 7 members, how do we, do we need to help them recruit EXCO members? Well, I think this one is about the club sponsor, so I think I can answer this one. So Toastmaster Hugh, since the new club needs to have 20 founding members to charter a club, right? So you would not be able to mentor a club with 6 to 7 members. All right. When you are assigned to be a club mentor, you are going to always start with at least 20 founding members of the club. And to answer the second question, right, about the club exco, the club officers will be determined or elected before the club is officially started. So we need to we need to elect the club officers even before the club is started and run. Right. So to answer your question, you would not have a chance to get a new club with 6 to 7 members, and club mentors would not have to recruit the exco team. So Toastmaster Hugh, did that answer your question? Okay. All right, thank you. Then we come to the second question from Toastmaster Corinne, Empower. To be club mentor is accounted for the DTM goal if successful. Yes. How do you evaluate that success? Or well, what is NBR? The new members?
Number, I think.
Oh, okay. Number of new members, but for how long? Okay, well, hold on. Let me go back to Corinne's question. So for how long, Toastmaster Rob, how long do you have to be a club mentor?
Yeah, so it's usually 6 to 12 months. It really depends on the what the club needs, but usually a minimum of 6 months to get the club up established. And maybe if the club is struggling a bit, it could be up to 12 months, but it's usually in that time frame.
Yes, and it doesn't matter how many new members can the club get, or how many members left after 1 year or after 6 months, right? It is not in the criteria of being a successful club mentor. So as long as you can help the new club foster for 6 months to 1 year, then you will get an email from Toastmasters International after 6 months, and then you print out that form attached in the email, give it to the president. The president will sign the form to verify that you have done your club mentor job successfully. And after that, TI will just grant you the credit.
Yeah, so basically you just need to make a reasonable effort to help the club as best you can. So if you just take on the role and don't do anything, then you're not going to get it. But if you make a fair effort and have a reasonable go at doing the job and support them as necessary, then you should be good to go.
So the notion of successful is actually left to the appreciation of the president.
Yeah, it's different to as compared to, say, the club coach role, where you do have specific concrete objectives you have to meet. With a club mentor role, it's a little more vague. You just have to make an effort, basically.
Okay, thank you.
I've got a little problem with the idea of you having to have 20 members to be a mentor. That seems back to front to me. If I was mentoring a club, I'd want to mentor a club with 6 to 10 members and then build it to 20. So what's the story with having to have 20 members to be a mentor?
Oh, well, Trevor is actually not having 20 members to be a mentor, but it's actually, the system is like this. When we started a new club, when we are going to start a club, they need to have at least 20 founding members to start a new club. That's the requirement from Toastmasters International. And somebody will have to help them go through all the charter process. That person is called the club sponsor, right? After the club is officially chartered, then they will have 1 up to 2 club mentors to help them to help them with their first 6 months to first 1 year. So what I said is there is no chance that a club mentor will get a club that have only 6 to 7 members.
Well, what I'm saying is if a club has existed for a long time, its membership has fallen away, it's down to 6 or 8 or 10 members, can you join and be a club mentor to try and build the club back up to where it's supposed to be? That's my major question.
Yeah, that's really where the club coach comes in. So you've really got 3 roles. You've got a club sponsor when a club is not yet formed, helps them go from non-existing to becoming a club. Then you have the club mentor, helps that club keep the momentum going and remain established as a club. But if that doesn't work out, and as you say, they start falling away down to 6 to 8 members, then that's where the club coach comes in, is to come in and rescue that club and get them, bring them back to life.
Yeah, I'm just finding a little bit of a grey area between coach, sponsor, and mentor. I really feel that the mentor is needed right when they get at their lowest point. That's when you need a serious mentor. And you could call it a club coach, but I think there's a grey area between coaching and mentoring when you're talking about a group of people. Mentoring to me is usually somebody asking you for help. That's mentoring, mostly. And if a club comes to ask you for help, I'm thinking you become a mentor, not a coach, in a sense. But mentoring is usually for the individual, not for a group of people. Group of people is coaching, usually.
Yeah,
do we understand that? Yeah.
We use different terms in Toastmasters, and I think the logic is to separate the work, like you are doing this work, you are doing this work, so that there will be no overlapping work. Well, I'm not going to talk about the terms that Toastmasters is using, but yeah, well, we just stick with the terms and the roles and responsibilities of each term. All right, so thank you very much, Toastmaster Trevor. Then the next question. Next question, we have a question from Partially Goach. Right, as a mentor, how to help retain members if all new club members are new to Toastmasters. It will be difficult to have quality meeting or complete understanding right from the start. How do we ask them to stay?
Yeah, and I would say that's exactly why the club mentor role is so important, because you have this new club of people mostly new to Toastmasters who don't really know what they're doing. So if they're going to make it, then they do need an experienced Toastmaster to guide them and mentor them and help them along the way. So it can be a challenging role for sure, especially in maybe the first couple of months, but also a very interesting one. So it's an opportunity to turn a fledgling club into a real thriving one.
Yes, and that's why the role of club mentors is very important. And that's why we dedicate 2 days for the role of club mentors instead of 1. All right, the next question, do mentors must be 1 member of the club's member list or not?
So I would say normally you wouldn't be a member of the club that you're becoming a mentor of. A club mentor will normally be an experienced Toastmaster from an established club, and the idea is that you bring in your experience to this new club and helping them get started. So probably most likely not now.
Okay, next one, can the club mentor be an existing officer like VPE or president?
it's just slightly different from the previous question because I'm actually wondering from an advanced member, like someone who had already completed one path, for example, and decides to create a new club. Can he be also the mentor of that same club and be president or VP?
Or you mean the person who is starting the new club being the president himself and also the mentor himself, right? That is possible. Yes, because he is the one who's starting the new club. In some cases, I think this happened before with KBTG, right? A new club in our district. This one is organized in an organization. And we have a Toastmaster member who is a member of Thai Airways International Toastmasters Club. He wants to open a new club in his office. So he started a club there, and he is the club sponsor of the new club. So the same thing, if that person would like to be a club mentor, then I think it can.
DD Pipat or DDM Pipat, Vuni has been raising her hand for some time.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't see. So Toastmaster Vuni.
Oh, thank you, Noj. I'm just listening to the answer to Corinne's question just now, and I wanted to clarify if my understanding is correct. To recognize how a mentor has been successfully completing her achievements, meaning that if I'm a mentor and I have been a mentor for 12 months, and I am very convinced that I have duly done my job and everything, and I just submit that I have done my job. So there is no key performance index or anything that there is no criteria for me to hit. So long as I believe that I have done truly on my mentor's job, then I could just click submit and I will get approved. Is that true?
Well, so basically, so the president of the club would need to confirm that you've done the job. So you have to have done enough for the president to be happy with what you've done.
Okay, so it's quite subjective. Like, so long as the president feels that he agree with me that I have done nicely my job, then I will get the recognition.
Yeah, it's definitely subjective, isn't it? There aren't any kind of concrete targets to hit.
Thank you so much.
Well, I say that to help a new club, it's pretty different in different clubs environment. For example, if you're going to take care of a corporate club, in which you are working with, then Lana, then that would be easier. I mean, easier because you are working with your office mates already, right? But if you are going to take care of a new community club, that is a lot harder because you are going to work with random people who you do not know, right? But still the concepts are the same. You need to foster the membership building culture, help them to retain their membership, help them to know how to run the meetings effectively, interestingly, and fun. Right? These are the concepts that we have to be able to help the new clubs with, but the degree of difficulties are different.
I have can I speak? Yeah, I have a little point to make there's a few criteria to me for being a mentor. The first one is that if you're going to be a mentor, you've got to have the experience, but not only have the experience, you've got to be able to display and perform your experience in front of your mentees so that they actually look up to you. And if you can't do that, there's no point in being a mentor. The second biggie is time. If you haven't got the time, don't bother, because you've got to have a lot of time if you're going to be a mentor at anything. And the third thing really is that you've got to be prepared to take the journey together. In other words, you've got to become one in the same. If you're a mentor, you've got to actually develop a relationship and take the journey together. And I think really, if you're not prepared to engage in those three things, don't bother becoming a mentor. But that's the way I see it. And it really works when you do that. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Trevor, for your recommendations. And I totally agree with all your 3 points, right? So moving on with the question, we still have pending questions in the list. Next question is, do you have to be an active member to become a club mentor, sponsor, or coach? And the answer is yes, you need to be an active member. Right. So
yep, I would have thought if you weren't an active member, you wouldn't want to take on that kind of role anyway. So I think you can assume that's kind of built in. So but it doesn't mean you don't have to be an active member of the club that you're mentoring, but you do need to be an active member of Toastmasters.
Yes. Didi Venus, yes, please.
Thank you. I would like to add on the question of Poshali, who's asking about how to help retain members if all new club members are new to Toastmasters. One thing that could be done on the first few months, for example, first or second month, is to introduce the different roles. It could be a series of trainings on how to be a Toastmaster of the day, how to be an evaluator, how to be general evaluator, or the different roles. One thing for club mentor as well is if you have other connections or if you have other supporters, you can also bring them in the club. So for example, if your forte is about general evaluation, then that you can do it yourself. But if you know yourself that there is someone even better who can show to be a good evaluator, then bring that person into the club meeting, give them the role, and then they will show how to practically do it. So that is one thing for a club mentor, that is to have a pool of supporters from many different Toastmasters club as well, and just bring them into that new club if you can. But that is one good thing as well, because it's easier to show how to do it than to lecture about it. So that is one suggestion that can be done. Thank you, DTMP.
Thank you, Didi Venus. And yes, I totally agree with her that we need to be able to demonstrate what we know and show it to them, right? So the first thing I think from my experience, I would like to share a little bit here. From my experience, what you can do to gain the trust from the new people is to be really knowledgeable about what you are talking about. So let's say you are going to teach or to train, to mentor the new club members, and they are going to rely on you on everything about Toastmasters. So first, make yourself knowledgeable of Toastmasters. Do you know what are the membership building program Toastmasters have each year? Do you know what are the roles in a meeting? What are the club officers' roles, what they need to do, how to submit a payment to TI? What is the difference between active and inactive club? What are the requirements for the members to join a speech contest, for example? Because they are going to ask you one day, right? You are going to be their reliable, trustable source of information. So that's the first step. Make yourself knowledgeable of what you are going to talk to them. And then second thing, like Didi Venus just mentioned, show, demonstrate, be a good example to represent Toastmasters to the new members there. They are looking up on you as well, on your performance as well, because you are there to show them, you are going to represent Toastmasters to them, and they are going to see you. And evaluate you. Right, I would like to say this, use this word, evaluate you as a club mentor. So be sure that you know everything about Toastmasters and practice until you feel that you are reliable and trustable. So that is some sharing from me. Didi Venus, you have something to add?
Not to scare them of knowing everything. Just be prepared, help yourself, of course, help yourself to read all the necessary documents. But also one thing is to connect with fellow Toastmasters. So once you cannot answer it, then there's someone you can ask help for. For example, okay, I don't know this answer, then you can just send the question to someone else and they can answer it for you. That is one thing a mentor or any Toastmaster can do. Just have that connection so that you have resources from outside yourself.
Yes.
They might be scared. You say, if you know everything, is that, oh, how can I know everything?
And especially there's one person who you can rely on besides Rob, me, and the trio, and that person is your area director, right? So please work with the area director. When the club is chartered, it's going to be assigned to an area, so you have an area director to work with, right? This is an important person as well. All right, so if we don't have any more sharing, then we are going to move back to the questions. We have more questions here. Do Toastmasters have requirements to be a club mentor, and what are they?
So as I understand it, if you're an active member, you technically qualify, but really you need some experience. It doesn't need, you don't have to be in Toastmasters for like 10 years, but as long as you've been in long enough to know how everything works, to have some experience and feel confident to help a new club get started, then you can take on the role.
All right, thank you for the answer. So move on to the next question. How long does it take to get an application from Rob approved to start mentoring a club?
Okay. Well, it certainly wouldn't take long to organize the form and approving someone to get started. But what we do need to do, because the idea of the club mentor role is you're working with newly chartered clubs. So that's something that Vppr and team are working on at the moment. So it's really a question of when those clubs are ready and are in need of a club mentor, and then we can match you up with the club and get things going.
Yes, or another way, we don't need for the new clubs to be officially chartered. Well, actually, I and Rob are working together because we do not want the new club to be chartered first, and we find out who is going to be the mentors of the club. So we are going to work together. Right now, we are in the stage of initial talk. So we are talking to the interested organizations, and we are talking to the interested groups of people. And then they are going to run through some process before they are going to be officially chartered. During this time, Rob and I are going to work together to finalize who are going to be the club sponsors, who are going to be the club mentors for this club, and then introduce the club sponsors and mentors to this group of people, even before the club is officially started. That is, I think, the ideal plan that we would like to do. Right, but once again, please wait a little bit because we are now in the initial talk stage. So it's going to take a little longer, like maybe a few more weeks or a month for the clubs to be chartered. Okay, next one. Do mentors get assigned to mentor a club from the same country, or can we do everything virtually, cross country?
Interesting question. I would think that ideally you'd want to be certainly in the same country, ideally in the same city, but I guess it's not 100% essential. We would certainly consider a virtual mentor. It's really as long as you're able to provide support, especially if maybe the club is doing meetings over Zoom or is planning to, then that could work. So I guess we're open to ideas on that as to how we can make it work.
All right, and may I direct this question to Madam District Director as well, because well, actually DD and CGD are the ones who assign sponsors and mentors on paper. All right, so I would like to know from DD District Director Venus as well.
So there are two ways of being appointed as a club mentor, right? So before the form that Rob showed a while ago, that is a form that will be submitted even before it is chartered. That is, if it's already decided who will be the mentor. However, if it so happened that we still don't have a mentor and then the club got chartered already, so the CGD or the district director will have to email Toastmasters International appointing you to be the club mentor of that new club. That's the question, right?
And will there be a chance that mentors from another country is mentoring a club from a different country?
Yes, there is a chance, most especially for now, that we can open online clubs to be under a district. So we can open like 100% online clubs. And for example, we open a new club in Vietnam and you decided to have a club mentor from here in Bangkok, then that's fine, because just as Rob mentioned a while ago, you're going to have the meeting via Zoom anyway and via online. So it's possible. And also it's possible to, if you are serving as a club mentor, but then you decided or you found out that you are not enjoying it, or maybe it's somehow challenging, then you can also step down as a club mentor. So that's also possible. Or if the president doesn't like to work with you, but that shouldn't happen. Because also when it comes to terminating or firing, or no, not maybe firing, it's the president or the CGD or district director will be the one to email Toastmasters International saying this person will no longer be serving as a club mentor. Or you yourself as a club mentor, if you're the one who decided not to continue the journey, then you'll be the one to directly email Toastmasters International stating that you are stepping down as a club mentor. But we don't want that to happen. It's a rewarding journey, to go for it.
Thank you very much, DD Venus. Okay, we have one more question. Doesn't the club mentor duties clash with the Vppr?
No, not really. As a club mentor, your job is to support all the officers, including the Vppr. So certainly you'd be advising the Vppr on how to execute their role and what they can do to promote the club and attract guests and so on. But you'd also be supporting all the other officers, the VPE and VPM and everybody else, and showing them how to do their roles. So as club mentor, you're supporting all the officers and they're actually doing the work. You're just showing them what needs to be done and helping ensure that they're executing properly. But it shouldn't be clashing with the role, no.
Thank you, Rob. Then we have one more question from Hugh Hanoi Speakers. Where can we find the list of clubs in need of a mentor? Any clubs in Vietnam needing mentorship now? So I think I can answer that because the list is going to come from the sponsored side first, because we are going to help the club to get chartered first. right? And I can say that we have quite a number of club leads, meaning a group of interested people waiting to start a Toastmasters club in Vietnam. Quite a number of them, right? I don't know. Oh yeah, you are in Hanoi, right? Hanoi, there is one new club coming up, right?
AIS White, and also Haiphong, which is very close to Hanoi.
Yeah,
Haiphong Eloquent. Yeah, Haiphong Eloquent and the company, the corporate club.
Yeah, I think
that's in Hanoi too.
Yeah, we have one or two right now that I can think of in Hanoi, and a few more in Ho Chi Minh City, and one in Canto, right, in Vietnam. So yes, we have quite a few clubs for you to help with the mentoring. All right, do we have any more questions from the audience? No more questions, right? I think Job did a very wonderful job. Everyone understands everything perfectly. Okay, so if there is no more question, then I think this session is going to be a short one. So next, we are going to talk more about the role of club mentors, because we know that being a club mentor, you need to know a lot of things, and you need to be able to pass your knowledge to the new club members. So next week, you are going to review the Distinguished Club Program, Pathways, Club Central. You might need to help the club officer sometimes. So you need to learn about the Club Central as well. Then the Toastmasters evaluation technique, because one of the main things they are going to ask from you is to evaluate the speeches, because they do not dare to evaluate. So you will need to be able to teach them how to evaluate the speeches, even when they are new. And we have some techniques for you to teach them next week, right? Rob, one last question. Will the mentor name and detail reflect somewhere in the TM website?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that. I haven't considered that.
I think the
answer is here.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Here.
Okay.
So it shows in the, for example, this one. It shows in the system who are the club mentors and who are the club sponsors. And also already those who got the credit. So you can find this in this file. Wait, I'll share it to you one more time. Update reports. If you go to the website and then you come here, you've got here new clubs, sponsor and mentors. And you just click that one and it will show. This is when you're already appointed. Okay.
Well, Didi, can you show again? Can you show from the very first page, the home page, and then what do they need to click?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, yes.
Let me go back there. So for example, okay, let's come here first. Step by step. So you don't have to log in anyway. Any member can access this one. You come to Distinguished Performance Reports. My internet is quite slow. And where is our district? District 97. So you choose your district and then you come here. Daily reports. You click on daily reports and yeah, we need more clubs. You look at that one, only 35. New club sponsors and mentors. This is when you're already appointed, then it will show here. There. Okay.
All right, thank you, DD Venus. I think that answered the question perfectly. All right, so thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Toastmaster Rob, our club quality share, for your training today. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And please don't forget, next week we have another training, which is going to take place on Wednesday. We are going to go back to Wednesday from about 7 to 9 p.m. again. So please don't forget to log in and join the training, because if you are going to be a successful club mentor, you will not be able to miss this. You can't miss this. Right. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining, and see you again next week.
Okay, bye. Good night.
Okay, everybody.
See you next
Bye.
week.
Good night.
Thank you, Rob. And thank you to all the participants. So as of now, we've got how many? 19. It means to say we'll get 19 new clubs.
Right.
For the participant, one club for you, okay? Give birth to a new Toastmaster club.
Right.
Rob will be the grandfather.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, thank
good
you.
Will be the
night.
godmother.
Yes, that could be.
You have the grandfather, you are the godmother.